everybody, this is Narc Shield and this is Jennifer. I'm so excited to be here with you today because we are going to be talking about flying monkeys, and I'm going to use examples from part of a documentary called Surviving R. Kelly Part 2. I saw it from Hulu. I have watched Part 1, and Part 1 is actually on Netflix now. If you have not seen it, it is a really good documentary. Both segments are good, and he is being accused of being a pedophile and all kinds of abuse. Like, there is so many federal charges against him, more than any other celebrity in the history of celebrities, on him right now. All these federal charges against him, and he is in jail waiting to go to trial. And this has been going on for 30 years. This isn't the first time that he has been in the news about abuse, but a lot of his accusers are coming out now. They're speaking up, and more people are getting the strength to speak out because they have other people speaking out and they don't feel so isolated and alone. So I think it's amazing. He was in a live video on Facebook at one point saying, you could see this in the documentary, where he's like, oh, they should have been doing this 30 years ago, and, kind of mocking the whole process. And, as if like, if I did something, you should have done it 30 years ago. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. It's abuse. And so I've seen the documentary, or both of them, and I've seen the evidence that is being shown, but I have to give R. Kelly and the victims their time in court, and I will judge based on that when I see the court case, and I will be following it closely. There is so much evidence against R. Kelly that is kind of hard to say. I mean, there's videos and all kinds of things. So he's definitely done some things, and but I still want to wait and see what happens. So what I want to talk about in this particular case is the flying monkeys. He has some people that come out and defending his name. And the two I want to talk about are the sisters that are in this second documentary that are coming out and defending him. And it triggered me because I am a victim of abuse, and the character of victims are so often assassinated. It's as if the person that actually is being accused, their character is all the accusations and their character, it's like all being ignored, and all this ugly is dumped out onto the victims. And that's why so many victims do not come forward, do not want to go to court, do not want to air. It's so vulnerable and scary and isolating for them. And in this documentary, some of the victims were saying how they are being attacked in public. They are getting death threats and things like that. I mean, it's entire families. Like, it affects a lot more people than just the one person if you come out and you speak up. So it takes a lot of courage for a victim to say anything about being abused at all, because of people wanting to assassinate their character and say, oh, they're just doing it for attention, or they're just doing it to exploit somebody, or they're just trying to get money. It's the craziest thing to me, because I'm like, how can you not look and see that? Why do you automatically have to accuse the victim? And I'm telling you, it has to do with this halo effect, where, so a celebrity, basically, it can be anybody, but in this case it's R. Kelly. I believe I can fly, and he's, this famous person, and, is very talented, extremely talented, unbelievably talented. I have to tell you, I always have loved that song. I used to sing it to my kids all the time, and amazing talent. When you first see them, or you see what they've done, or you first meet them, you automatically, because they're so successful or they're so good looking or whatever it is that you first initially see and think about them, you will attach other good feelings and other judgments about them that are good. Let's just, when it's the halo effect. So, R. Kelly, oh, must be this really great guy. He helps people in the business and he helps young kids get in, and he's sang "I Believe I Can Fly" and it's like just amazing, and he's just this amazing talent. So he's so smart and he's just the nicest guy. And you can attach those feelings onto somebody, what you want to believe, even though you don't know the person well enough to actually be able to say those things. And the same thing can happen, and I don't know that they actually call it the devil effect, but I'm going to say that, the devil effect, because if you meet somebody and say they're in a bad mood the first time you meet them, or they don't really feel very good and they're kind of shy and didn't really talk a whole lot, you can actually project onto them bad things. Be like, she was kind of rude. She must be a snob. She wasn't even speaking to anybody. And so let's just say it's me. And so you say, she's not a nice person. And you don't want to hang out with her. You don't want to have anything to do with her. She's not very nice. She's kind of rude, and then you would just attach all kinds of stuff, and you don't really know that. It's just that your first impression was something that made you uncomfortable, so you attach all this other stuff, and then you go out and tell other people that. And so I call that the devil effect. And so the halo effect is the opposite of that. And so R. Kelly, being that he is a celebrity, of course there's going to be many people that are not going to want to believe anything bad about him. It's hard for us to do that. It's hard for us to think of, oh gosh, I can't think right now. There's so many people, Cosby, and then what was the guy's name on Lauer? Oh, isn't that something? Matt! I just had a brain fart. Matt Lauer. We don't want to think of them doing bad things. And then the Me Too movement came out, and people are starting to come out and express things that have happened to them, and people were re-victimizing the victims and just assuming automatically and exploiting these vulnerable things about them because they don't want to believe that somebody that they've admired and put on a pedestal for so long could have done any of these bad things, even when the proof is right in front of them. Your cognitive dissonance just completely takes over, and logic goes out the door, and emotional thinking takes over, and you just can't wrap your head around it. So that's cognitive dissonance, and it happens all of the time. But what amazes me is how often the victims go through so much more trauma, and it takes years, if not ever, to get past it. The CPTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, it's a real thing, and they're having to relive this stuff constantly. It's really sad. Now, we'll wait and see what happens in the judicial system, but I want to talk about these two sisters that worked with R. Kelly because it really did bother me the way they handled things on this documentary. And so one of the sisters was saying that they were both coming on and defending R. Kelly and saying they worked with him for years. They never saw any kind of abuse, and they were definitely saying he was a good person. One of them was saying he's not the type to fight. So basically she's kind of really, both of them were taking that stance. You could see it in their body language and everything. It's like, I'm going to defend him. I'm strong enough to defend him. He's not. Listen, a narcissist does not like to get their hands dirty. They need flying monkeys to do the dirty work for them. So the narcissist always has people in their camp that will come and do this for them. And so it's perfect for him. I'm sure he was loving every minute of it. But just so people understand, when you are friends, any kind of relationship with a narcissistic personality type, and he definitely has tons of narcissistic traits if he is not a narcissist. It was brought up in the documentaries, but I can't diagnose him, but he definitely shows tons of the traits. So if you are with a narcissistic type person, they are using you as well. The flying monkeys, they are banking on you doing that. So they may do nice things for you. They may have treated you well and those types, because they need people to help hold up that facade. So here you come taking up and acting like he can't take up for himself. He can. He has a voice, he can speak, and you are either bringing on, so the narcissistic traits within you, we all have narcissistic traits, may be coming out to defend him because you feel like that's your job to do so, or it's very codependent where you're enabling somebody. So whatever, the case may be, but I'm just using these as examples. I'm sure these women are very nice people, but I will say it was very triggering for me. So I felt like, I'm going to talk about it. One of the sisters was saying, she was really upset that these victims were accusing him of the things that they were accusing him of. And she was upset that people would even believe those things. And she was basically alleging that they had ulterior motives. And then she was saying, that basically they were exploiting R. Kelly. And she believes in the judicial system. I can't even say it. She believes in the judicial system and that people should wait for the judicial system before assassinating his character. Okay. Where's the empathy for the other people then? So you want everybody else to have empathy for R. Kelly. I understand that. I get your point. I understand that. I get her point. I really do. Both of them, the sisters. But you're expecting everybody to have empathy for him and what you're saying, and yet you're re-victimizing or possibly re-victimizing the victims and assassinating their character. So, here we are with conflicting, what you're saying isn't matching with what you're doing. Otherwise, you would just say, I worked for R. Kelly for 6 years and I never saw him abuse anybody. He was very honorable. He was a great employer. I enjoyed working for him. He was always good for us, and took care of us, was always kind to my family, whatever it is you want to say, all these great things about him. I can't believe that this stuff has come out, and I pray that it's not true. I don't want to believe it. He's my friend. I'm here to defend him because this is not what I've ever seen. However, when it goes to court and we need to wait and see what happens when all the evidence comes out, I pray that it's not true, and I don't want to say anything about it until it goes to court because we just don't know. And I don't want to re-victimize the victims if that's the case. I don't want to blame any accusers, but I do want to stand behind my friend right now because nothing has been proven to me. Something along those lines. Anything other than bucking up and acting like they're just exploiting him, and you know what? They did these documentaries, and they're trying to assassinate his character. And look at them, they look like they were wanting to have sex with him. I mean, I saw the video, but it looked like consensual sex to me. They were teenagers, and I'm wondering. I'm like, okay, so maybe you've never been abused before. But would you want that to be your daughter or your sister? What if something like this actually happened to you? And let's just say it wasn't R. Kelly and it was someone else, and you came out and were saying, this person did this to me, and other people weren't believing you. And people were talking about you like that. Kids, when you're 15, 16, you're still a kid. You are not a grown adult. Your cognitive part of the brain hasn't even fully developed yet. And to say those things. I was appalled, and you're expecting me to hear you out and have empathy on your side. I mean, I'm ready to hear R. Kelly. I'm ready to hear his case and what's going to happen. He has a lot of charges against him, and this has been 30 years. And I want to say that I really do have empathy for him. It seems from listening to the documentaries and his brothers and everybody that he has been through some abuse in his past as a child. And I absolutely, my heart goes out to him for that. And, you know, sometimes victims become abusers, and sometimes victims become people who are advocates for other victims. And so we need to wait and see. He does have a lot of evidence against him, including videos and things like that. And he has been with young women. And, you know, trauma bonding, it's clearly been happening from what I can see with the families, and mind manipulating. So here we have a guy in power who is able to offer future fake or offer certain things to people who are admiring and have him on a pedestal and needing something too, maybe wanting to become famous or just to date him or whatever the case may be. But that's exploiting. It's like you're exploiting these kids. At the time they were children. You're exploiting these kids and their needs, and maybe they needed something at home that they weren't getting. I'm not saying that that's the case, but whatever, their vulnerabilities, and he had the power. He had the most power, and so able to isolate them and trauma bond them by giving and then taking and giving and taking and controlling them when they can eat and when they can't eat, when they can go to the bathroom and when they can, and when they can make phone calls and when they can go and make visits and these type of things. So a 15-year-old, you know, and let's just say I'm 15, I can tell you that I did some things when I was in my teen years that I wish I would have never done. And I will talk about a relationship that, you know, I think I've already talked about. I think I did it on my podcast station, but I was 15 and he was actually 19, and I didn't get it. And I was completely brought in and manipulated. And it also created waves within my home with my parents because they knew better. But I, you know, was a teenager and wanted to do what I wanted to do because I hadn't grown up and fully developed yet and didn't know better, and was being influenced by somebody like that. So I saw it as character assassination against the victims, and the two sisters see it as character assassination against R. Kelly. And yes, it may be that way. However, I just don't agree when the empathy is because everything was it was inconsistent what you were saying, or what those people were saying, just in case. I don't know who's going to be watching these things, but it was inconsistent what was being said, because if you do believe in the judicial system, then you would just wait and see instead of giving your opinion about these people and saying, oh, I agree with the new documentary. I mean, the social media site that was put up basically calling them liars and wink, wink, you don't know who did it, but you agree with it. I don't agree with people bullying anybody. And I wouldn't agree with it if it was people lying and exploiting R. Kelly. And so I do believe in the judicial system, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing how that case goes and listening to the victims and actually listening to R. Kelly's case. And I do have empathy for R. Kelly because he was an abused child at one time. However, if he did grow up to be an abuser, then he needs to be accountable. And that's how I feel about that. So to me, that is an example of flying monkeys. I hope you'll like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Until next time.